on stage Ngcobo uzoza yena uzosintroducela our next speaker, and it is well in his right to do that. And simshayela izandla esabuye ubaba Pholoba.
I did not say the greetings in the appropriate manner because our stages. But one thing that has to be said is the observing of all the protocols in the house. And thank you to Bob Masuku for those words. And it's definitely something that we really need to think about, and that is why we have started as a SIGFARO to do what we are doing in terms of this particular gatherings. My task before I do call in the next speaker, but I just want to, within the program, we have a journey of what SIGFARO has done, and I just want to show in brief, I won't be long in terms of this, so that we get to understand, because there are maybe others who might not know what is SIGFARO all about, and this could potentially provide that particular understanding. The institute, which others will know, used to be called INFO, the Institute of Municipal Finance Officers, which is now the Chartered Institute of Government Finance Audit and Risk Officers. So it's not just only for municipalities, but also incorporate the government departments. That is why there are certain CFOs which we've invited from the provincial departments who are also present today. And also, before it was mainly for the CFOs or the finance officials, but the risk and audit is also incorporated into the institute. And we've had quite a number of sessions and engagements. Earlier in the morning, someone said to me, SIGFARO seems to be very busy in events in the province. And my take was that it's not just doing events, but it's feeling the need that is out there. Bob Masuku was talking of the challenges that are facing local government. And one of them mainly comes, or the root, is actually the finance side of things. So SIGFARO ought to be playing a greater role when it comes to finances, because we are recognized as one of the key stakeholders within the province. And on our side, we have to do what we need to do. And that is what I will present in brief on my presentation. If you look at one of the statements that I always talk about is working together. These collaborations, because previously SIGFARO was doing its own events, COCTA will do their own, Provincial Treasury does their own. Yes, they still do those things, but we now try by all means to talk one language. If it calls for us to collaborate and have one event instead of different events, or the Saga is also here, who's one of our partners in most of the engagements that we have. So we're all trying to work together so that whatever that needs to be done, we can serve our members as a SIGFARO, and also all COCTAs, the other departments as well, can be achieve the objective that they have set before them. If you the together one, just maybe to clarify that, because there's a party that says together we can do more, because we saw that it was nice to have, but for us we are also doing that. Remember, it's not a political thing, but the togetherness has to be there, because if we try to be Superman of our own, we won't achieve anything. But now we're just trying to work with everyone so that we can ensure that whatever that needs to be done gets done. So one of the key things that's coming up in July, we've got an asset management year-end training for the asset management practitioners in the province, because that's one of the key challenges in most municipalities. So we're actually having this session, I think in 2 weeks' time, where we're just going to be dealing mainly with AFS issues pertinent to asset management. It's something that we've never done before, where we're just right in the middle of preparation of financial statements, we're actually having that, because that is where most of the challenges arise in municipalities, how to disclose all these huge amounts related to asset management, the infrastructure and the impairments, and all these nice words that is always spoken about when the AG comes. So we are trying to minimize or even reduce I've even turned it towards a journey of elimination of audit findings in asset management, because that is the driver of this particular training session. So it's not just about calling people in to go from municipalities to come to a venue and all the nice things that happen, but we want to stay true to what we are there for as the institute. Some of the things that we have done once again recently is the Finance Intern Summit. This is something that we started 2 years ago, and it has grown to be one of the recognized events within the province. And I'm so glad to hear Masu to say even now the private sector is taking some of these interns, because within the province about 70%, I think that was 2 years ago, I'm not sure about now, because the study was done, about 70% of the CFOs were past finance interns. So it means that if we can grow the finance interns well, must be capacitated and developed well, in future, these are the future CFOs for the municipalities. But for some time, they were actually neglected. Just put into the system, no monitoring, no development. They might just see to their own selves as to how they actually figure things out. But that is one of the programs that we are running. And next year, because National Treasury has indicated they want to make this program a national event, where now it's not just going to be the KZN doing it, but they're going to make it compulsory for all municipalities to be part of a particular gathering of the finance interns. And then the other one is the SCM Procurement Conference that we recently held, which we were collaborating with Dr. KZN. I think this was sometime in May. And those are the issues that we actually dealt with in that particular conference. And this was the first one as well, and we're hoping that every year we can actually have this gathering, because nothing has been done maybe for the SCM practitioners within the province. And this seeks to then address their developmental needs. In terms of the committee, I just want to show the actual committee members that we have as Ngcobo, because we're talking of this working together. Before, it used to be municipal employees who are part of the executive committee, because every province has a committee in terms of the institute. We have members from Copter KZN represented, DUT represented, Salga, Provincial Treasury, Mr. Zabu, as you saw, myself, one from eThekwini, Alfred Duma, one from Milembe as well, one from Guadubuza, and one from an agency who's also a CFO. So we're trying to come up with this committee so that it's well represented within the province, so that we can all as an area talk one language in what we are doing. We've tried to rope in AG to be part of it. They indicated that they might be conflicted if they join, because they might be seen as a referendum player in the whole thing. But I'm still engaging with the national office, because AG does have a very strong relationship with Ngcobo, and for me, they ought to be part of what we do in the province. They are partners when we have gatherings, they do come through, as most of you will know, but we actually want them to be part of the actual committee for planning purposes, because we all want to improve the audit outcomes and audit-related issues around that. The summer of activities that we have had, I've listed all of them here, like the Revenue Solution Summit, asset management training we have done, asset management Indaba, which was a collaboration with Usalga and Obona Bude, the international masterclass when we had the gentleman from Canada coming to talk to us, the interns I've mentioned, the SCM Procurement Conference, the Revenue Solutions Workshop, which we did in Ngcobo, the audit readiness workshop, which we recently did in June, and then also for the internal auditors, we did a training for all the internal auditors or internal audit managers within the province, which they welcome very much. Also, that was a start, because one thing that we've set ourselves, which is the next slide, two things. Baba Umasuk mentioned them, because most of the time the focus has been on audit outcomes. Yes, we all want to improve that, and those are objectives as the institute. We are busy doing all these sessions and what so forth, but we have set ourselves from last year to now and next year, 3 years, we want to see this change as well. We are working with the municipalities. We're trying what we can to understanding there are challenges in other municipalities, there are various aspects that must be dealt with. But two things, we want to ensure the financial sustainability of the municipality returns, because there are others who are doing well, and then for some reason things have not worked out because of the economy and everything that is happening, and the cut of the grants and the budget within the national sphere that has impacted municipalities. But now we are saying, because some of those things are here to stay. Now, as Ngcobo, we can't just say, let's keep on doing what we are doing, because things have changed. That is why the direction that we are taking as the institute is to say, how can we start growing our own local economies within each municipality? because there are opportunities that are out there. Recently, I went to the state in Los Angeles. I was sent by Faro. And one of the presentations in that particular finance conference, they were talking of LED. That is why when I came up with this particular concept, it was linking into that. One municipality, the only thing they have is a beach. The beach with the B-E-A-C-H. That beach. And they say this is the only beach where there is happiness, where you find happiness in this beach. Not the other one. This is the only beach where you find happiness. And they get tons of tourists coming into this particular municipality. So one thing they've focused on, they've said this is our core thing that we have. There are other beaches somewhere else and everything that's happening. But they say that they get 6 million visitors per annum, tourists. They just profile their beach that they have. Now I'm saying there are certain things that we have. It's a matter of how we package it, how we put everything, and how everyone talks the same language in that one thing that you have, that you can make sure you grow it. Because sometimes we want to think super big, but there's certain things that are within us, where if we can just open up our minds, especially the finance personnel. That is why we say, let's now start looking, yes, the numbers must be there, we must do our financials and making sure everything is there, they balance out and the GRAP standards are taken care of. But how can we start working very, very closely with these economic development guys? Because we are always worried about the now, but the economic spin-off that arises out of certain things way surpasses what you are seeing right now. If you look at the Durban July as an example, that is why we said let's tie in this with Durban July. Not that you wanted to come for Durban July. If we do go for it, we do go. We'll see what happens. But I read an article, I think it was this week. The city of eThekwini, they say the economic spin-off is about 200 million because of the Durban July. Because some of us just see an event, and it's nice, and horses and gambling and what so forth, but there are people on the back who are doing numbers. The economic spin-off that is actually taking place within the city of eThekwini. And we are saying now, as the municipal officials, especially us who can do these things, and the leadership as well can start to think and push us to think these things. How can we emulate some of these things that are being done? They are results for, but yes, it won't happen overnight, but we can start to think along those lines. Because as we grow our local economies, because there's no money that's going to come from outside if we don't think this particular fashion. We have to see how can we bring the money, like in the Durban July format, people are flocking in here, they're going to spend, they're booking. Elangeni Hotel was fully booked. All the hotels around the city fully booked. How much of money is actually taking place, the transactions, besides the booking of the hotels, everything, the buying of the food, the buying of this, people are bringing money from outside, they are bringing to eThekwini. And some of us now, because we are coming from our respective municipalities, we're taking our monies from the outside, we're going to pump it here in eThekwini. Now how can you think along those lines as municipalities? That is why we are saying we want to start these particular sessions now. As finance leaders, we need to start thinking like that, because there is so much that we can do in our respective areas. Yes, there are challenges, but we can start. And this is a platform that you want to create, as Mr. Zagwe indicated, like with TIKs, and we're trying to bring them close now when we have these engagements. Economic development, we want to see how they also come through, and we can all talk of this particular thing. So the gathering that we have, we're not going to take any resolutions and declarations, but it's for us to start thinking along these things and be able to engage in this particular platform that we've actually created. So on my side, that was my short presentation, or short enough, with regards to it, but I had to share my mind in terms of why we started this, because there was one gentleman who actually criticized me, I won't lie, for saying, why are you having an event in Durban July on a Friday and also on a Saturday? Because he's saying, no, you can't be doing that, it's a waste of public funds. But I said, you cannot, certain things you can't communicate unless people are feeling what you are talking about. Now we're talking with the Durban July, that is right now, that is currently happening. And as I'm indicating, the fully booked, you can relate to the fully booked hotel, because some people are actually calling me, they've got no rooms, and they're trying to see what you're actually doing. Now, and I told this gentleman, he's one of the CFOs, and then when I explained to him what we're trying to do, he said, oh, it actually makes sense. Even for him, that article I'm talking about, of the city of eThekwini getting 200 million, that is out in the public domain in terms of the economic spin-off here. then now we're starting to see why we're doing what we're doing. Now I'm saying there's certain people, they might not know these things, not that they don't want to do them, just that people need to be taught something to know something. So now we're trying to then create all of that, let them know, and then let them be able to actually do these particular things. And then the last one is what we're going to have tomorrow in terms of the awards. Again, Mr. Zawo did say the things are not looking good, but because we want an improvement, those who are doing well, because the picture is, yes, it's bad, everyone is painting it that way, but there are others who are really trying their level best, and we want to recognize those and also serve to inspire others to say, when you do well, you'll be recognized, and that's the culture that we're actually trying to start within all of this that we are doing. So those words on my side, just want to thank you all for being here once again as the provincial chair, and thank you as well for keeping on supporting Ngcobo, all the initiatives that we have. We're celebrating 90 years this year. In October, we have our national conference that is coming in October. It's coming here in Durban, ICC. For some reason, 90 years collided with us here in Etiquette. And by the way, Ngcobo, I've heard, somehow was formed here in the city or in the province of KZN, but they will make mention of that when we have our 90-year celebration in October for the main conference. All right, so at this time, I'm going to be calling upon one speaker who will be taking us on one presentation, talking on economic issues. I'm sure most of you will know him, Ngcobo. He's one of the economists, provincial treasury, that's a KZN. We've heard him speak in quite a number of engagements, but I felt it's important so we know exactly what we're dealing with as a province and all the issues that are surrounding the economic aspect. And Wale says,